It was Portugal.
I got a cryptic text off you saying God's walk among us.
Yes.
And I thought,
yes.
I'll ask him about that.
Yes. It was Portugal versus Slovenia, and it was, of course, your favourite Ronaldo. And it was a tough match. And at one point, Ronaldo, to win the match, had to take a penalty. And he's one of the best penalty takers in the world. The goalkeeper he was up against, Oblak, Slovenian, is also one of the few. I mean, Slovenia is a very small population, but they have a world-class goalkeeper, Oblak. And Oblak saved the penalty. Anyway, Ronaldo basically burst into tears because he realised at that moment, and it's very unusual for a footballer to cry on the field in the middle of a game. He was in tears, and then the match went to extra time, and the extra time nobody scored, so it went to penalties.
Yeah.
So he'd missed the penalty. So the manager selects the people who are going to take the penalties. He'd missed the last penalty. Stress was on there against this fantastic goalkeeper. He then volunteered to take the first penalty for Portugal.
Of course he would.
And he scored the goal. Yeah. And then the Portuguese goalkeeper then saved 3 goals in sequence, and Portugal. Yeah. The second Portuguese player scored, the third Portuguese player scored, and they won the game. And that's when I sent you the text, God's walk amongst us, because over all this crap you and I talk about, there are people like Ronaldo, human beings who are extraordinary, who
cry like babies.
Well, the thing is, he cried, and by the way, the BBC were making fun of the fact he cried as well. He cried because of the emotion, because he felt he'd let his country down. This was a time or whatever. It's very unusual, but as I said to my kids, the reason he cried is because he's different. Most footballers, he's never cried before on a pitch. This time he cried. But he not only cried, he went through that emotion. He then came back to then score the goal. And I look at him and I think, you talk about superheroes and all these crappy Marvel films. And there are individuals like him who are just extraordinary. They are human beings who just transcend the norm of what human beings should do. I mean, he's 39 years old now and still playing as the captain of his team. The guy in the last game who scored a goal for Portugal, Ronaldo had played with his father. Had played with his father over 20 years ago. Played with his father. 39 years old. He came back last night. Had the mental will and strength to then score that first penalty. And I was actually overcome with emotion when I saw that.
You didn't cry, did you?
I didn't cry.
Good. Men shouldn't cry.
My eyes may have looked glassy for a moment.
Right.
But
so 2 things there. First of all, him crying. Men shouldn't cry in public. Men do cry, and men can cry, but it's only in a locked bedroom. No one can ever walk. That's if you want to cry, that's where you cry. So forget the crying bit.
I'll ask your wife if that's happened. If you lock the door and then we hear sobs coming from inside.
My wife will tell you that my tear ducts don't work.
Yes. So men don't cry. Ronaldo is not a man. That's my point.
Well, he's a man.
Because my sons were saying the same. He shouldn't be crying.
He shouldn't be crying. But I don't think that's here nor there.
Yeah.
So what's spectacular about him is he took a penalty, got saved. That damages your confidence and puts pressure on your stress when there's the next penalty in the same game. So for him to volunteer just proves the man he is, that he wasn't going to put the pressure and give onto someone else to take a penalty. The fact he volunteered to take the first one, because he knows he's special. He's trained all his life. No one trains like he trains. And he also knows that every now and again somebody will save a penalty. It's a lot of it, the goalie just needs a bit of luck to go the right way. So he knew he'd have a very good chance of scoring again. But the fact he had the courage and then the will and the calmness to do it shows he's a very strong man mentally. But he's also a fantastic footballer, which there's no doubt about.
Yeah. And I think the reason, it was a penalty shooter, I think the reason he took the first penalty is his team with Slovenia are way down on the rankings, world rankings. It was highly surprising that Portugal got held to a draw with them. I think the reason he took the first penalty, because you saw him actually say to the second best penalty taker in, I'll go. I'll let me go first, and the guy nodded like that. The reason he took that penalty is because he knew that he had to score, and if he scored, the rest of the team would feel confident about scoring.
Yeah.
So it was more than just proving to himself. He had to do it to make the rest of the team.
Because he's a natural born leader.
Yeah.
And he knew that he's missed a penalty. That's affected the whole team now.
Yeah.
It's not our night tonight. Even Ronaldo can't score from the spot.
Yeah.
It's not our night. He knows I need to quell that now.
Yeah.
I need to get up and score, and they'll go, we're back in the game.
Yeah.
And that,
And I just thought, all the crap you see on a day-to-day basis these days, you see stuff like that, you think there are still extraordinary people out there.
There is. When I used to watch England games many years ago, and it went to penalties, and watching competitions, I'd watch more than the England games as well. And it'd go to extra time, and then it'd go to penalties, and you'd look at both teams, and the team that sat on the floor panting, and it's like, you're done.
Yeah.
You've already lost this.
Yeah.
And then when the manager is trying to pick his penalty takers, the ones who've got their heads down, who don't want to be picked, it's like, you never give you a penalty. You don't want it. You want people like him going, me, boss, me, me.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who want to take the penalty.
Yeah.
So you can see leaders, you can see people whose spirit's been broken just at the end of the game like that.
And don't forget, he'd also now been playing, because he'd gone into extra time, he'd been playing for 150 minutes.
But he's super fit.
Yeah. He's 39 years old. He played all the way to extra time, then took the first. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You missed a good game then. That would have been better than the draw.
Would it? So what's your prediction on the rest of the Euros?
Well, yeah, that's interesting actually. So my prediction on the Euros, and our listeners are going to find this strange, I think it will be a Germany-England final.
No.
And Germany will win. And our listeners, if they are... Nick doesn't know anything about football, gentle listeners, but our listeners who do watch football will be thinking, why the hell is he predicting England getting to the final? Because of the way they've been playing. They haven't. However, England have some particularly skillful individual players. Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane. I think Foden, although people will argue with me, but those individuals are capable of winning games by themselves, as Bellingham did in the last game, basically. And I think every game they play, there's a chance they can win, and there's a chance they can therefore get to the final. But Germany will be on the other side, and I think they will lose to Germany.
Right.
That's my prediction.
We will see.
Yeah.
And now you've said it on camera. If it happens, you can clip this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look at the date on that. Look at the date. That's what I said. Did you like that video? I think you did. Hit the bell. Give it a big thumbs up. Comment. And don't forget, I'm standing for election in Oldham East and Saddleworth. So please share this video, speak to your family and friends if you live in Greater Manchester. And if you live in Oldham East and Saddleworth, make sure you vote for me. Catch you soon.